Hey guys, welcome to our fourth build stream. Got an exciting one for you guys today. Today we're going to be improving the Blue website together. Primary thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a direct swap right on the Blue website. And in addition to that, I'm going to show you guys a new coding tool I've been using. It's called CodeEx. I've been kind of preferring that over Claude Code over the last couple weeks. So love to introduce you guys to that, and we can jump right into it. There is a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'm not going to get into too many details because this is a build stream, but expect a really action-packed AMA on Thursday. Got lots of really great things going on. I guess I could just touch on them a little bit. You guys might have noticed we're having some more guys active in the Telegram. We're expanding the team to be able to, fully capitalize on all the projects and, spread the hype and give them the attention that they deserve. And we're going to take a new approach with marketing as well. We're going to be dabbling with quite a bit of banner ads. So that's part of the reason why we're actually improving the Blue website right now, is we want to make it so that we can drive traffic here and we can convert that traffic into paid users, investors. So, as always, I want to keep this stream interactive as possible. So if you guys have any suggestions on how we can improve the Blue website, definitely drop it into the comments, and we can likely get that stuff done right on the stream. And so the main thing that we're going to be prioritizing is, ease of use and, strictly, most importantly, being able to convert visitors into investors. So just real quick here, one of the things that we've talked about is perhaps the 50,000% APY. Stuff like that might have worked a little bit better in the past, but I think that might scare some new investors. So I think we've been talking a little bit in Telegram about switching that up to, showing a daily rate instead of the annual APY. So I think that's something that we can do as well. We're going to have a governance vote coming up soon to see if we're going to actually adjust that APY. So we're not going to deal with the governance vote today, but we can definitely deal with making any and all changes to the site to make it more appealing to new investors. And again, we're going to start with getting the swap live on the site. And just to show you guys everything start to finish, I haven't done a single thing yet. What we're looking at right now is the Blue code base for the Blue website. Nothing whatsoever has been done yet. So you guys can see the entire process start to finish. So hope you guys are excited for that. And, like I mentioned, let's keep this stream super interactive. I want to see a lot of comments here. That's what, gets me pumped up and makes me, excited to want to do more of these in the future. So definitely let's get that interaction going, and, let's have those tips flowing in about, how you guys think that we can improve the website and make it more user friendly and, really attract more investors. Because like I said, we're going to get banner ads going. That's going to drive crypto type users from crypto websites with our banner ads directly to the site. So whatever we need to do to make sure that we can convert that traffic into investors is what we need to do. So if nobody has any questions or comments yet, I guess we can jump right into it. So firstly, I guess I should give a little bit of background. The reason that our site didn't already have the ability to buy right on the site is the LP situation was a little bit more complicated before. We had, we started with the V3 pool, and now we've got the V2. And then, shortly after we launched, we had the V2 pool, and they both had quite a bit of liquidity. So, in order to give the user the best output, we would have had to intelligently route between both pools. And that's something that's like really complicated to do properly. Now that we just have the V2 pool, it's extremely straightforward to do this. And for you guys that are following the side project that was just launched, Baby Aster, you guys probably noticed that we added a swap right directly on that site. Actually, I'll show you guys that real quick. So you can see here, you have the ability to swap BNB to Baby Aster, and you can reverse it and swap Baby Aster back for BNB. This one is just a little bit more complicated actually than what we have to do for Blue, because this has tax. It doesn't make it that much more complicated, but I did have to get the AI to factor in the slippage and handle the slippage for users, and then show proper estimates based on the taxes. But we don't have to worry about any of that with Blue, so it's going to be a little bit more straightforward. But this still I was able to pretty much one-shot this with CodeEx. Hey, Killis, how you doing? Glad to have you here. So this is going to be a little bit more straightforward. So where I like to start with this is, so like based on just prior knowledge, I kind of know that what areas AI might struggle with. So I know that if I give it the right starting point, it's going to have a really high chance of being able to build this in one shot. So the main thing that I want to provide manually right now is I want to give it the V2 pancake swap router and all the information it needs to interact with that. So what I'm going to do, just again, because we're not working on a brand new project, we're working on something that's existing. And, you know, I could tell AI to do this, but I'm just going to do it myself. It's just a little bit more straightforward. So we have a file called contracts.ts right here. This is basically, so again, I've showed you guys in the past building with scaffold ETH2, which basically like couples your contract repo with your front end repo all kind of in one nice package. That's not what I did for Blue. And I'll explain that real quick. With Blue is an Olympus DAO fork. So I basically forked the contracts for Olympus DAO, made all of the changes that we needed to make, deployed that, and that was separate, right? That's in its own repository. So now I needed to build a front end for it. So the easiest or probably smartest way to do that was just to basically start a new front end, but then bring in all of the data related to like the contracts, which is what you can kind of see here. You can see that, you know, we have BNB chain defined here. Let me zoom in a bit. Get this terminal smaller. We have BNB chain defined here. Then we basically have all the contracts. We have the name of the contract, and then we have the address and the ABI. That's basically all you need to interact with a contract, is just basically to know what chain it's on, what's the address, and what's the ABI. The ABI is like how you interact with it. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to do this manually. I'm going to add another entry here. So this is going to be our first custom entry. Everything else here was kind of automatic, but I'm just going to call this V2 router. And does it actually? No, so it's got the wrong address there. So I'm just going to Google real quick, pancake swap V2 router. And we should get the BSC scan link. Yep, #1. So, I mean, I've seen this a million times, so I know that this is the right address, but if you're not 100% sure, you'd want to confirm that you're looking at the right one. I mean, you can see there's like almost there's 760 million transactions on this. And I mean, actually, the best way to do this, if you're not sure, is to actually go to the pancake swap documentation, because they have all their contracts listed there. So we're just going to grab this contract address. We're going to throw this in here. Also, it actually now knows the right address. That is the correct address. It's trying to pop up there, but I'll paste it in anyways. And now we need the ABI. So I'm going to actually use BSC scan to grab this as well. So if we just pop over to the contract, and here is our ABI right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we can paste that right here. So now we should be good to go. So now basically, now we can tell AI what we want to build, and I can tell it that I've already added a V2 router definition, because that's basically all that we need to build this swap into the site. So we're going to attempt to one-shot this. So I did mention that we're using a different tool today. We're using CodeEx. It works very similar to Claude Code. I've just found that for very complex problems or features, it has just one-shot stuff like you wouldn't believe. Like it's some of the complex things I've given it, and its ability to one-shot has just been like absolutely mind-blowing. So that's why I've been using it. I'm going to show you guys. I'm actually not going to use the console one, but I'm just going to show you guys that just in case you want to use it. So what I did is I just typed CodeEx. So you would need to install CodeEx the same way that you would install Claude Code, just like an npm command to install it. I mean, you could just Google that, super easy. Install CodeEx. There's the command right there that you need. But I've already done that. So so now I'm in CodeEx. The one thing that you're going to want to do is, so if I go /model, oh, so this is actually, I'm surprised. I could have sworn I already set the default. So this used to default to medium, and then I would always switch it to high. You can actually change your settings so it defaults to high, but for some reason that must have got reset for me. But for complex problems, you're definitely going to want to set that to the high model. Now, I mentioned we're not going to be using it this way. You definitely can use it this way. It's going to be basically the same thing, but we're going to use the extension, which is basically the exact same thing, but it's just going to be a little bit easier for me to show you guys. So this is like very similar to like if you're using like cursor agent, right? But this is the CodeEx extension, so we're using like the CodeEx coding tool. So, and again, what you're going to want to do here is, so this is actually a new model, GPT-5 CodeEx, and you can see I have it on high. Prior to this, I've been having good success with this, but I was also having great success before that came out. I was using GPT-5 high. That was also exquisite. So we'll stick with GPT-5 CodeEx high though, but just make sure you switch that because you're going to have for complex problems, you're going to have less success unless you're using the high reasoning models. It basically means it's just going to think about things a lot more. It's going to, try and grab as much context as it needs. But yeah, let's build this prompt and see if we can one-shot this implementation. So let's get rid of that so we have more space, and let's get this going. So I'm going to say currently we have a buy page that links to PancakeSwap, where users can swap for blue token. I have added a contract definition to our contracts.ts file called v2 router, which will allow us to build a swap component directly on our buy page. Let's think, what else do we need? We only need to support swapping BNB to blue and inverting it to swap blue to BNB. I was going to say potentially in the future we might allow more tokens, but let's just leave that alone for now. Let me think of what else we might need there. So we will want to show users an estimated output, which we can get from the v2 router with get estimated out. So some of this stuff it would already be able to figure out. I'm just trying to give it a little bit more info just to give us a higher chance of one-shotting this. We'll want to show users an estimated output, which we can get from the v2 router with get estimated out. Blue token does not have any taxes, so we can use the standard swap functions for swapping native to an ERC20, and the opposite for swapping blue back to BNB. I mean, this is not a perfect prompt, but I think this is looking pretty good. For slippage and setting minimum output in the swap function, let's default it to 0.5%. So once we have an estimated output, we will submit the swap transaction with 0.5% less as the minimum. Again, I'm probably giving away more details than we need to, but I just really want to see this one shot. So, all right, I think that should be good to go. So actually, let me just run the dev server so we can kind of see this. So yarn dev. All right, so now we got a live dev server running. So as it's making updates, we're going to be able to check it out here. And I think we're good to go. Let's see what happens. And again, because we're using high reasoning and we're giving it a pretty big task to do, it's probably going to take a little while. So this would be a good time to maybe talk about some other improvements that we can make to the site. You know, if any of you guys like visited the site and weren't convinced you should invest right away, maybe you can give us some tips on what you could have been shown that would have made you more interested to jump in. I guess the homepage is going to be the critical one. I mean, again, we've talked about lowering the APY that we're showing just to show it like in a daily return. So we can see here what it's doing, preparing to build swap component. I don't usually read through this too thoroughly, but can be interesting sometimes. Yeah, so I mean, because we have just the V2 pool now, it makes the swap so simple, because I mean, it really only needs to hit that one pool to give the user the proper output. So I mean, what we're probably going to need to tune afterwards is I'm loving this content, buddy. Thanks, man. Yeah, I really enjoy doing these. It's I'm playing around with coding stuff, with AI all day, every day for the most part. So, I've learned a lot of tips and tricks, and more than happy to share it with you guys. But yeah, like, so what we might need to tune after, like, I think this is probably gonna work in the first try, but we might want to tune like how the component looks, like how it's displayed, what information it's showing the user, just like fine tuning stuff like that. Dennis says daily return is more easy to understand for a lot of people. Yeah. So we can definitely look at switching this up. So maybe just changing this to say like 1.71% daily APR or something. I'm not in love with the whole pro simple thing either. I know like we were trying to keep the site like super simple at first to have like that simple mode, but I think it might make sense to just have a single mode and have it be maybe just have like just one mode, but try to simplify it as much as we can. Impressive coding, Aaron. Looks easy. How you working with it? Thanks, man. You know what? Like, so that prompt that I just made, it was like a really thorough prompt. And as you guys play with AI coding, you're going to basically, the way that you start to figure out what prompts you need is that, like, I could have started there with an ultra simple prompt and just said, I've added the V2 router to the contract config, make me a swap component on the site. And to be honest, like, that's not too different of a prompt than what I gave it when I did the Baby Aster one. And it did actually a pretty good job. But there was a couple things I had to get it to change after. So just based on those previous results, I was like, okay, well, this time in my prompt, I'm going to give it a little bit more information to give it a higher chance of like not running into those same problems. Right. So it's like, you don't need any experience. You don't need to know to type all those different things I typed into the prompt. You can, again, start with a simple prompt. As you keep prompting and keep doing more and more features and playing with it more and more, you're going to learn at what points the AI is going to stumble, right? It's, for example, the V2 router. Could it have figured out the V2 router address and ABI? Probably. So probably I didn't need to do that, but I just know that this is the only contract it needs for this integration. So if I just put that info in there, it's just going to be one less potential thing that the AI could get wrong. So, I mean, stuff like that I can easily put in and know that it's going to be perfect and give the AI, like, I guess you can kind of look at this like, anytime you're building a dApp for crypto projects, or, if that has some kind of smart contract interaction, if like the main thing that you need to connect the dots for the AI is the AI needs to know, how do I interact with the contracts? So like that's the part that I try to handle myself. So if I've got, again, like an Olympus DAO fork like we have with Blue, I basically used AI to export a list of contracts with addresses, which is pretty much exactly what you guys see here. It's just every single contract that got deployed for Blue with the address and the ABI, which basically means that now that AI has that, like, so imagine we're just starting to build the Blue website. Once it has all the contracts, the addresses, the ABIs, it has every little thing that it needs to interact with the whole protocol. And it can kind of figure out what it's able to do based on those ABIs. An ABI is basically like, well, I mean, just to show you an example here, so we copied the Pancake Swap ABI from here, but what that ABI is defining is basically everything that you can see when you go to like read contract, all of these, functions that you can read and write. It basically populates this from that ABI, right? So the ABI is just essentially a list of everything that you can do on the contract. And not only that, but like also what inputs are required and what outputs it's going to give you. So again, you don't need to understand this too well to use it, right? All you need to know is that if AI has access to the address and the ABI, it knows how to interact with the contract and do all these things, right? So, and again, I did give the AI a little bit of tips, right? I said like use get amounts out. It probably would have figured that out itself. Actually, I'm sure it would have, but I just wanted to make sure that it was going to actually show an estimate on the swap. I mean, again, I think it probably would have done that anyways, because that's pretty standard for a swap. But yeah, I guess as you get more and more used to it, you just start to provide a little bit more information just to give yourself a higher chance of getting, a good result on the first try. So let's see what we got going on here. So we've got a buy swap card that didn't exist before. Now it's editing our buy page, finalizing component integration. So what do you guys think? Is this going to work on the first try? We're going to be able to test it in a moment. And you can see that like actually CodeEx is pretty cool that it basically broke down like all that reasoning into like 3 main tasks it was doing. Review existing buy page layout and available Web3 utilities to understand integration points for a swap UI, build a reusable swap widget that handles estimations, allowance, and router interactions, integrate the swap widget into the buy page and adjust UI copy as needed. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's pretty much exactly what I would have asked a dev to do this. All right, so Dennis thinks it's going to work. Bob thinks it's going to work. Gil says maybe a tweak here and there, but it will do good. Yep, I think we're going to be able to test it in a moment, so let's see. Oh, so, I mean, while it's building, sometimes it breaks the site just because like it's building things step by step, so I might need to restart the dev server here. Let's see. I'm going to wait for it to finish, though. I mean, it's not perfect. Sometimes it actually breaks the site and you got to get it to fix it, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So right now it looks like it's actually done the work. It's just there was some like linting or type errors because we're using TypeScript. So, TypeScript is basically like I've probably talked about this a little bit in the past, but TypeScript is like a type. It's a superscript on top of JavaScript. So with JavaScript, it kind of lets you're free to kind of do anything. It's like easier to code, I guess, with just pure JavaScript, but you can write more proper code with TypeScript. So like everything has to be typed correctly, and AI is really good at handling all that. So, but that's not too important to get into the details of that. But okay, it looks like it's done. So let's see. I might need to restart the dev server, but let's see without. All right, so buy Blue. So we got our, let me zoom in a bit more. So we got our BNB balance, and looks like we can switch. So now it shows my Blue balance. All right, well, let's give it a try and see if it works. So 0.02. So that's going to get me 7.11 Blue, which is going to give me a minimum of this. So let's try that. And what do you know, guys? So I think that's just a decimal problem, that because that output is showing like a super small number, but I think that's actually just because it has the wrong decimals. Yeah, so that estimate looks weird, but just to show you guys, I have 5 blue right now. I'm going to submit this and I should be getting 7 blue. So let's go ahead and do that. So now I've got 12 blue. So that actually worked flawlessly. Again, that was just MetaMask that didn't properly read that blue has 9 decimals. So it was showing the number a bit weird, but that definitely worked exactly how it was supposed to. So that was actually very, very smooth. Happy with that. I don't even know what I would improve about that, but let's make sure we can sell now too. So let's go. We're going to sell 2 blue into 0.005. Oh, oops, that was the wrong button. So we're going to sell 2 blue. And is it asking for an approval? So it's not asking for an approval. I must already actually have this approved. So I'll need to do a better test later from another wallet that doesn't already have that approved. Awesome. Holy shit. This is insane. Well done. Nice. Magic fingers. So again, guys, just to be clear, I did give it a really thorough prompt, right? Like if we go back and look at what I gave it a super long prompt, which made it have a really high chance of working on the first try. But again, I think that it probably still could have worked with a little bit less information there. But yeah, that's actually super impressive. So, all right, guys. Well, great build stream. Got that done. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, that was great. So let's see how this looks at a normal size, just to make sure it looks good. So actually, one thing that did confuse me is like when I was trying to swap blue for BNB, I went to click here to swap when I should have clicked down there. So if I just made that mistake, probably other people are going to make that mistake. So let's get it to fix that and make that a little bit more obvious what that button does. So, all right, it works great. The button to switch between swapping BNB to blue and back to blue to BNB looks a little too similar to the swap button at the bottom. Let's make it a small button. The only thing inside the button can be the 2 arrow symbol to show that it reverses the order. This will remove the confusion. Impressive. I mean, it really is this easy, guys. Like, I mean, I'll show you guys, all the tricks and tips, but I mean, really, you just gotta, if you guys want to build stuff, you just gotta, just start trying, and you're gonna, without knowing like, super detailed prompts to give, you are gonna run into some minor issues, but I mean, that's usually stuff that you can fix with a follow-up prompt, and again, as you do it more and more, you'll be able to, kind of know some of those things that you want to put in place in advance, or some extra information that you might want to give it. So again, like the way that I go about doing that is if I do a prompt, because again, like AI can't read your mind, obviously. So if you just give it a short 1-sentence prompt, it might be able to do what you're asking, but it's going to have to guess a lot of things that you didn't specify. It's going to guess, does he want to show the output, the estimated output or not? What slippage does he want to use? There's all these different things that it's going to have to guess. And, sometimes a guess is pretty good, but, the less things it has to guess, the closer it's, what you're building is going to be to what you want. So that's where you want to define as much as you can. And look at that. That's it. That's beautiful. Oh, why is it giving me? Let's refresh and try that again. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit more straightforward, although it's not too obvious which one you're. I'm going to get it to switch the title to make it more obvious. Okay, the button looks good now, but it isn't clear enough which mode we are in. Let's switch the title of the component to say swap BNB to blue, and then reverse it to say swap blue to BNB, depending which mode we are in. Can you program that blue will reach 1,000 next week? I'll put it on my to-do list. Should we add a banner that says the daily API is for the launch if we need to lower? Can you reword that? I'm not 100% clear on what you mean there. It should say you sell also when switching to sell mode instead of keeping you pay. Okay, yeah. Good call. So when we are in the swap blue to BNB mode, let's change the you pay text to say you sell. Good call. We were talking about lowering the rate. Yeah, we got to do a governance vote for that. Actually, that'd be something fun to set up on stream too. I mean, that doesn't really involve too much building, but it's something I've set up a lot of times in the past, and might be something good for me to show you guys how to do. So like I use a platform called Snapshot for that. So you basically just set up Snapshot for the protocol, and you just set up like the parameters of like what gives people voting power. So if, in our case, I'll say like the G blue balance, and then like any admin on the space can, well, I mean, there's different settings, but by default, any admin can create a new proposal, and then people with G blue would be able to vote on it. I mean, you could also set things up so that anybody with like a certain threshold of G blue could also make their own proposals, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. All right, you pay, you sell. Cool. Actually, one thing that we shouldn't say wrap BNB. So I noticed we are labeling BNB as wrap BNB, while I know we are using wrap BNB contract for the calls. Actually, I don't need to get into that. The functions we are using are all dealing with native BNB. So let's keep the labeling consistent and use BNB labeling. So I think what we'll do next is we'll switch up some of the branding from 50,000% APY to 1.7% daily. I mean, it's 1.71, but I think we can just call it 1.7 to keep it round. Have you ever thought about the idea of splitting daily percent into amounts of blue you hold? For example, 1 to 100 blue. I mean, we can't change that just because the code's immutable. Protocol's already been deployed, so basically what we can do is we can update the APY, but that, you know, we can't change it based on how much blue somebody has. All right, cool. So it's showing BNB now. Very nice. So what I'm going to do now, just because I think we're going to start working on something else now, I'm going to just commit this to Git. So git add, I'm going to add all of our changes. Then I'm not sure if I showed you guys this before, but so here we have like in cursor, we have source control, basically. So these are the things that have changed. The buy page, the contracts file, and this new swap component. So what happened when I did git add, I mean, you can do that through this as well. I'm just kind of used to doing it through the console. So what those are staged changes right now. So basically what I need to do is I need to commit those changes, and usually I do that actually in the terminal, or I used to, but now Cursor has a pretty cool feature where it can generate me an actual useful commit message. Because before I would just always say like update or fix or new buy, or I would do something like really short, but Cursor will actually generate us a proper nice one. So let's do that. Add buy swap card component for BNB Blue token swaps and integrate into buy page. Yep, that works well. So let's commit that. And I'm just going to go back to the terminal here, and I'm going to push that. So the way I have this set up is I'm not using Vercel for this one. I'm using a Cloudflare Pages, I think it's called. So basically that's going to auto deploy once I push this. So git push. Basically that pushed that up to the repository on GitHub, and that will auto deploy now. It's going to build and then auto deploy. So now we can start working on something else. And if we don't like it, we can revert it. I mean, there's a lot of ways to revert, but just figured I'd keep it fully separate. So I think we're all in agreement that it's probably better to show 1.7% daily than 50,000% APY. So let's maybe go ahead and do that. I mean, if we end up having to revert it after, we can. But so let's make a new chat because this is something completely unrelated. And let's just say currently we are, I want to say advertising showing, currently we are showing 50,000% APY all over the site, including right in the hero section on the homepage. After some consideration, I think it would be better to showcase the daily return rather than the yearly APY. Let's update all references. Should I do all? Because I know that's like the 50,000% APY is kind of spread throughout the entire site. Yeah, I guess let's update them all. Let's update all references to 50,000% APY and make them say 1.7% daily APR. Daily return. I mean, I know APY is annual, and so it doesn't really make sense to say daily APY, but that's just like what a lot of people are, I guess, are used to seeing. Daily return. Daily. What do you guys think? I think like APY or APR would make sense to most people, but it doesn't really make sense because it's annual. But daily return. But that doesn't look quite as sexy. But we'll change it after if we need to. Daily staking. Let's just say daily. Daily earnings. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for that one. Daily earnings. All right, let's go ahead and plug that in. So what other improvements do you guys think that we could make that would make this more appealing for traffic that we're going to send here? You know, because the beautiful thing about banner ads is it's very easy to ramp them up, right? So we can start small, and as long as we're converting some of that traffic, we can start to really ramp up the spending, because obviously as long as we're getting a return on investment there, there's really like no limit to how much we could spend. So basically we just need to get something that works where we can convert a certain percentage of visitors into investors. And once we know we have a working formula, we just ramp that up hard. And we're going to be doing that for all the projects as well. I think for right now, I got something really exciting coming for Book soon. But I think for right now, for the paid banner ads, I think Blue and Baby Astor are probably the two that would most easily convert with banner ads. So I think we'll start with those two. I think we're going to start with, we're definitely going to start with those two. So we can see I don't know if you guys can see that, it's pretty small, but our title has already been updated. Blue Protocol, 1.7% daily earnings on BNB chain. This one hasn't updated yet. This is already updated. Yeah, it's going to take, this is all throughout the site, so it's going to take a while. Well, while we wait for this to finish, I want to thank you guys for all joining on the stream. This is the interaction that we've had on the stream has been great, and it's exactly what I want to see, and it's what makes me excited to do these. As long as you guys are learning something and you guys are having fun, and especially the fact that we can improve our own sites. I think that like adding new utilities is a fun thing to do also, but I also think that our projects they can be improved, right? The dApps, we talk for Book, we're going to have a Book USD. We're going to completely rewrite that whole front end, and that'll be a fun one. And like I actually think we might be able to do that in a single session. I'll show you guys some tricks that we can do to kind of speed that up. But worst case, maybe it'll be 2 sessions, but we can get a really nice looking interface for Book USD. Because guys, like Book is incredible. I think all of our projects are incredible. To be honest, Blue is so simple. It has great rewards. It's, I think it truly is like the degen playground, of this. When we finally get these alts to really kick into gear, I think this is like a super fun protocol for people where they can really make a lot of money. And there's a lot of different utility that we can add to it as well with GBlue, possibly taking GBlue cross chain. There's a lot of different things we can do with that. Book has Book USD. That's incredible, right? There's passive income opportunities there. There's, you can borrow with your Book. Book is a fixed supply token, has great tokenomics, has huge locked liquidity. I think that, with some improvements to the dApps and, just raising awareness. And, I mentioned earlier that, we hired a few new guys that are going to be helping to, build hype and grow the communities, keep our communities engaged. I think, we really got a winning game plan ahead of us. So yeah, we'll just keep improving all the projects. And, I think the core functionality and the core premise and, narrative and everything of all of our projects is incredible. So I think we just need to, get the word out there more. We got to, increase excitement, increase momentum. And, I think we're making the right steps to make that happen. So this is still going through and updating all this. .7%, 1.7. I'm waiting to see this one update because I want to. This is the important one. I think also we're going to get some bond markets kicking pretty soon. Probably this week I'll get some bond markets because, I know that a lot of great things are going to be happening for all of our projects, and we're going to get some positive price movement. So it's going to be a good thing to get some more bond markets up and running. So watch out for announcements about that. All right, and don't think we need to say daily earnings twice there. How could we improve this? I mean, we could just get rid of the text here, or we could say 1.7% daily and put something different down here. I'll let it finish and then I'll figure something out. Oh, so that because I did push that earlier change up to Git there, I think our live site should be updated by now. Yep, there it is. Awesome. All right, so we don't really need that note there anymore. That note was there just to explain the 50,000% APY, but so now it's going through all the docs to make sure that the docs are all updated. So I think we're probably going to call it after we get this final update here. Once this is done and everything it's doing, I'm going to improve this a little bit. And then yeah, I think it's been a pretty productive stream. Got tons of big announcements coming for the Thursday AMA, so make sure you guys don't miss that. And I'm sure we can get another build stream going. I think part of what made this build stream probably a little bit better than the last couple is that we had a very clearly defined mission, right? Like we're improving the Blue website and we're adding this really cool feature of being able to swap right on the site. So I think that in the future we can't just say, oh, it's build stream number 5. We got to say, build stream, we're building a new UI for Book USD, right? And that way people know exactly what to expect. And I think that's going to help keep excitement up and participation up. All right, 10 files changed, all done. So I probably should look through and just make sure it all makes sense everywhere, but I can do that after. So let's just get it to fix the hero section. Okay, looks good. Update the hero section of the dashboard. Remove the icon that you can hover for more information. It isn't required anymore. And what else? Change the big text to just 1.7% daily. Change the smaller text below that to say getting writer's block here. Not sure what I should make that say. 1.7% daily. Maybe it doesn't need to say anything. Comment out the text. Comment out the smaller text below the big text. Maybe in the future we will add something else there, but currently it's repetitive. I don't know how to spell repetitive, and doesn't need to say daily earnings. Okay. Anything else you guys want to change on the site? And we don't have to end the stream now if you guys have any other ideas. Oh, you know what? I think there's actually two dashboards. I think it's doing the changes in the wrong dashboard. Because when I first built the blue BNB site, I didn't really love how the dashboard looked. So I basically had it like build a second one. And I wanted to see like if I liked the second one better. So I ended up just switching to the second one without removing the first one. So that's why there's you can actually see that it's worked on dashboard and dashboard too. And because I didn't mention, I just said dashboard here. It's probably just not doing the right one. So, I mean, I really could stop it right now, but I'm just going to let it finish. And then if it doesn't change anything here, I'm just going to say, I meant to say dashboard too. And then it'll fix this one. Come on. Yeah, I mean, I really should stop it since we don't even use dashboard one. So I'm just going to actually, sorry, I meant to say to edit the hero on our dashboard 2 page. Make the changes I mentioned, but make them to the hero on dashboard 2. Look at those manners. I'm even apologizing to the AI. So this should get the job done. I mean, that was such a simple change. I probably could have just gone into the code and updated that myself in 2 seconds, but it is AI coding stream, so let's try and do as much with AI as possible. So now it's reverting the changes it did to the other dashboard, which we don't even use, but that's okay. So another way I could have fixed this is I could have just went back here and I could have just edited this to like say dashboard 2. I mean, really what I should have done is I should have just deleted dashboard and changed dashboard 2 to just be dashboard since we don't use that old one anymore, but that's okay. So we got a little error here while it's working on stuff. John says, is there a way to add a referral system, like give an NFT with blue token and email it to someone like friends or family? I mean, we can build anything. I mean, it's not, I guess I'd have to know a lot more about the idea to say yes or no, if that makes sense or not. I mean, so how would that be different than just taking some blue and sending it to someone? So we got a problem here. Unterminated regexp something. So let's just, I'll show you guys how I troubleshoot this. Let's copy this and pop that in here. Getting an error now when loading the dashboard. Paste that in, ship that off. Yeah, I don't really understand what you mean. Like like for one, referrals are very tough to do with Blue because there's no fees on anything. So to have a referral, there's nowhere really to pay for a referral, right? Like unless you're giving the person that's buying a worse, like for example, if some random person comes and buys $100 of Blue, they get $100 of Blue. If you refer that person and they buy $100 of Blue, unless your referral money is coming out of their purchase, which means they get less, there's nowhere to pay for a referral, right? That's, with stuff like MSS where there's taxes and like, or where we can boost like how much we put into someone's like deposit, like their staking account, stuff like that can have referrals just because we have a bit more flexibility there. But with Blue, it's like there's no taxes, there's no fees. There's really nowhere for a referral like payments to come from. So it looks like it just made like a syntax error when it was making this update. So like it didn't close a tag properly or something like that, but it should be able to figure that out. If we go look at our components, we should see that, or I guess our pages. Probably, yeah, so we can see the errors here. So it looks like it's probably like one too many closing tags. Like I could probably delete this and just fix it. Yeah. That doesn't look too great though. Okay, I'm just gonna stop this because I fixed it. So basically the problem there was it had one too many closing div tags, and that was like super obvious to me, so I just removed it. Yeah, I'm sure it would have eventually figured it out, but it's taking too long. Yeah, I think we need to improve this a little bit. This doesn't look great. I wonder what text we can throw in there to. What do you guys think? I don't love how it looks. It looks so much more basic than it did before. Great session, Aaron. I have to leave now. Well, thanks for joining, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I guess we'll leave it like this for now, but we're definitely gonna have to update this. I think it needs a. Well, actually, let's ask AI. That's what we're doing here. So let's make a new chat. Let's just say, okay, that's actually not bad. Earn 1.7% daily. Then what do you think the text underneath should be? Or should we just get rid of it? All right. Grow your holdings. That's not bad. Let's see how this looks on a smaller screen. Yeah, that looks pretty good. think I'm pretty happy with this. Well, actually, should we get it? Let me actually just push this into Git, and then I'm going to see if I can get a better suggestion. So I'm going to do the same thing. So basically what I just did is if you guys didn't see that, I did git add dot. Oh, actually, sorry, you can't see that. Git add dot, which basically adds everything to Git. Like it stages it. So now I'm just going to generate a commit message. So this basically just summarizes everything that we just did. Let's commit that. And as the final step, I've got to push this. So I just did git push. And now that will build and that'll be live. So let's see if it has any ideas for how to make this better. So we just updated our hero image, our hero section on dashboard 2 to say earn 1.7% daily with subtext of auto compounding. Do you have any suggestions of how we can improve this hero section to make it more appealing to new visitors? Our ultimate goal is to drive traffic to the site and have a very high converting homepage. Any changes that would improve conversion ratios would be excellent. Let's see what we get. I think after this we're gonna call it for today. So because I didn't like directly tell it to make changes, it's probably going to give me some suggestions. So let's see. Hero ideas. Pair the earn 1.7% daily claim with a concise credibility hook backed by, okay, that's not a bad idea. So no visitors instantly see upside and reassurance. Pull live figures. You already have treasury balance, takers, days running, and render them in line. Add a short supporting sentence that frames the offer for humans. Turn idle blue into daily income. Yeah, it's kind of boring. Give the primary call to action, benefit-driven copy, stake blue, and start auto compounding. I like that. And add a secondary call to action for people who need more context. Swap one of the 3 stat cards for social proof or urgency. Consider surfacing the calculator right inside the hero. Some pretty good ideas. Let's implement the first one. Actually, let's do the first one and the third one. So, great ideas. Let's implement the first idea, where we show backing with live figures, and also the third idea about improving our call to action. Since we now have a swap directly on our site, I think we should direct people to the buy page. All right, let's see what we get. Actually, let me play with this new feature in StreamYard. So apparently I can show the comments on the screen. Oh, maybe not in that spot though. Maybe it's only going to show new comments. Oh yeah, cool. Below in smaller letters, 50,000% APY. So yeah, I think the 50,000% APY, like I think it looks amazing, but like I think like the reason that we were switching is because that could scare people away if they see too high of a number. So I think that, you know, I think it, because we removed it, I think we should probably not also. I mean, I think it could probably be some places on the site, but I think if we figure that that's going to scare people potentially, then we probably don't want to make it too visible. Yeah, it's a pretty cool feature to show the comments on the screen. Just because I see a lot of our viewers are on X right now, but all of our comments are coming in from YouTube. So, does it help at all if we have multiple languages on the site based on their specific region? That could help. So, I mean, for one, I guess that's something that AI could probably really help with, although it is generally a pretty huge task to make it multilingual. The other thing too is most browsers have really great like translation features built in. So I think that's kind of why it's not quite as important to have multilingual sites as maybe it used to be, right? Like if you go to a site in a different language, your browser's probably going to pop up at the top like, oh, convert this to English or whatever, right? And it usually works pretty damn good. So probably my guess on that would be it's probably not worth the effort considering what browsers can already do. But I could be wrong about that. I'm not, not an expert in that. But great question. Backed by 17 million in live treasury assets. That doesn't seem right. So I think it's probably using like some mock data for that. Kind of curious where it's getting that information from. So I like this. These buttons are cool. The new CTAs are great. And I like how the hero section looks, but those values are not accurate. Loading. Why is that taking so long? Is it because it's localhost? Let's see on the live site. Oh yeah, that's much faster. All right. Oh, maybe that's... Why is it not loading the treasury stats? Weird. So we're getting connection refused on that. That's a little bit weird. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's fine. So basically, we have an API for the blue stats, and okay, I see the problem. Basically, the API address isn't set up properly on my local environment. That's fine. But is that possibly why it's not getting the right? So let me take a look at something. So API base URL, which is coming from there. Okay. We're going to fix this, guys. Oh, do I have anything secret in there? Just in case. Nope. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing private in the env file. So our API URLs, this is not good. So this needs to be api.bluebnb.xyz. Oh, but now we have a different problem because you can't access the secure API from the local host, non-secure. Okay, it's not a big deal. Basically, it works in production. It just the API doesn't work. Basically, I have to run. Well, yeah. Basically, I have like a separate project with the API. If I run that at the same time, then this will work. So, I mean, I guess I can show you guys. CD blue should have like blue API. There it is. No, I got to make sure there's no env files showing any secrets there. Okay, so here is our blue API project. So I can probably just start this up with yarn start or not, or I guess yarn dev. Okay, cool. So now that that's running, I can actually set this back how it was before. And now our treasury is going to work. So I hadn't worked on that in quite a while, so I forgot the steps there. But we actually have a separate project for the API because the blue front end is just like a React app. It's not Next.js. So because it's not Next.js, you don't have like the back end and front end component. You just have just the front end. So when I wanted to get like data into the front end that you kind of need like an API for, I built that separately for blue. So now that I'm running that locally, that all works. And now let's go. Had a bit of a detour there, but let's go fix the homepage now. The new call to actions are great, and I like how the hero section looks, but those values are not accurate. The treasury data can be retrieved from the blue API the same way the treasury page does it. The real value of backing is closer to 240K, roughly. anyways, guys, looks like interaction is dying down a little bit here because just kind of troubleshooting this last thing or two. So I think I'm going to end the stream here. I'll get this fixed up before I push this live just to make sure that the stats are accurate. But yeah, hope you guys all really enjoyed the stream. This was a fun one. We made some serious improvements to the Blue website, and I think it's really getting to the point of being able to pour some advertising dollars into it and run some banner ads, and start getting some investors in and pushing a new all-time high on it. So yeah, I'll see you guys all around the community, and I'll see you guys. We're gonna have an action-packed AMA on Thursday, so definitely make sure you mark that in your calendars. It's gonna be the usual time on Thursday, and lots of stuff to talk about there. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys Thursday. See you, Bob.